Hello, my name is Camden Hainsworth, Mrs. Camden Hainsworth, ADHD. Sleep is supposed to be regenerative, right? Rejuvenating, a restful evening. Well, it's not always the case when you're battling ADHD. Today's podcast, we'll be talking a little bit about my experience as I, a 36-year-old woman, am now starting to navigate ADHD for the very first time in my life. Thanks for joining me. So this was a new phenomenon, honestly. It started happening about 2 months ago. I hadn't even thought about, this probably being ADHD. That wasn't even on my radar. But what had happened is my life took a brutal shift. And suffice it to say, anxiety was very high. I had a lot on my plates. There was a lot of change. There was a lot of thinking. There was a lot of decisions to be made. Um, I started questioning where I wanted to take my future, started questioning if I could even do anything that would be remotely successful in my life, and I started really looking and reflecting upon my life straight in front of me, like I was looking in a mirror. I had been telling myself over the past year that I was capable of everything, and for some reason everything came crashing down in a moment, as it seemed. One night was joyful and beautiful, and the next night was exactly the opposite. Um, that does something to a person. It leaves a lot of tabs open in your brain, if you will, a lot of unanswered questions just floating around, file folders heaped open looking for answers to fill them so that they can be closed and filed and sorted away. I didn't really know how to express this feeling. I told my husband, I just feel like there are so many things in my mind and I cannot even choose the right ones to bring out or even to talk about. There's so many things happening every second. I felt like my brain was forcing me to solve all the problems all at once. And while I knew that that was impossible, I didn't know what the solution was. So, we'll talk a little bit more about that aspect of ADHD later. But today, I want to talk about how this impacted my sleep, unlike anything I had ever experienced before. I usually had somewhat of a wind down routine. I'd write in my journal, I'd pray, I'd maybe converse with my husband a little bit, listen to music, maybe even veg before bedtime. I have a very specific bedtime routine. I wash my face every night. I brush my teeth. I floss. I am very rhythmic about, you know, that part of my life. It's probably one of the most consistent things of my whole life that I've had, especially knowing how I've battled ADHD and the impact that has had. But with all of these changes, my mind was in a different state and I couldn't catch up. And the most interesting things started happening. I was not doing very well in my nutrition, and I have a nightly nutrition routine that has helped me dramatically increase my REM sleep and that restorative sleep. And that was out of control too. It was kind of going bonkers, and that wasn't working. Well, I wasn't working for that. And then I had these thoughts just everywhere. I feel like it was like I could not find that on and off switch that I have somehow been able to find throughout my life. And I've lived quite a few years with some very, very interrupted sleep. My oldest two, who happen to be up right now, 6 o'clock in the morning, you can probably hear them in the background. um, they did not sleep growing up as little babies. It was like 6 to 7 times a night I was up with them. It really started to take a toll on my mentality and my psyche. And I know that a lot of people say you have to get a good night's rest, and I can be the first one to tell you how much you can do with very little sleep, but eventually it will catch up to you. I would not recommend not sleeping or not getting good sleep for an extended period of time, for years upon years. It is not a good situation to be in for anyone. So I remember laying down, I remember sleeping, I remember getting a full night's rest. But I felt every single thought my brain was having. Usually I doze off, and even when I have dreams, they're these very deep and distant dreams. And while I can see all the details, I've always been a dreamer, it's still restorative. It's still restful. And I wake up feeling like, yes, that was awesome. But this sleep had me far, far away from that restorative sleep. This sleep is shallow, and it's almost like I can feel my neurons popping from one side of my brain to the other, zigging and zagging and shooting and everything. The electricity is almost like palpable, even with my eyes closed, even sleeping in my bed, unable to wake myself up. I could feel my brain thinking, even when I was asleep. That was awful. And it happened again last night. And I think it will happen again and again and again. But what I have learned from this whole thing is that there are tools, there are mechanisms, there are helps. And that's what I'm going to be in search of in order to help my mind. I have friends that have insomnia, and terrible. Oh my gosh, I can only imagine what it would be like night after night to experience that. But similarly, I wonder if I wasn't aware right now, if I would think this is insomnia, if I know that like my anxiety levels would be even higher, knowing what the heck is wrong with me, why can't I sleep? But now, with the acceptance of ADHD in my life, I can recognize this is a brain problem. This is something that is just biological in me. And so, let's see if we can't retrain my biology a little bit. Let's see if I can really take this seriously and do some thinking and do some training with my mind, with my body, with my meditation, so that I can put myself in a good place instead of just trying to fight through it and say, oh, it will go away. No, let's put a name to it so that now we can do something about it. And that's true power in my mind. Sleep is a beautiful thing. And when you don't have it, life gets a lot more chaotic. And especially, I tutor at 4 o'clock in the morning. I tutor kids in China, and it is such a fun job. But if I'm not, this is going to catch up to me if I don't take care of it soon. So, you know what, guys? If you have felt this way, you are not alone. If you have felt like you have, 18 brains in your head with 35 tabs open on each one of those brains, and you can't quite close everything up in a nice tight little package, or close those red X's on your minds like I do on my Mac computer, you're not alone. You might not have insomnia, you might, but it might just be ADHD, and that's okay. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna navigate it. I can't even tell you how hopeful I am. I'm so grateful for the knowledge and the awareness that I have of my condition. It is helping me recognize I'm not broken. I just need to get to know what's going on in my body. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you all get a good night's sleep tonight. And this is me. Until next time.